Private security guard in uniform, armed, wearing a bulletproof vest, hand delivers legal letters to the homes of two local officials. So tonight, 19 Investigates reveals who he is, what's in his past.
The deliveries were captured by surveillance cameras, and those public officials feel it was meant to intimidate them. 19 investigator Mike Mason is showing us who that man really is.
Delivery for student handling. Okay, thank you.
On April 29th, two Medina County commissioners had letters hand-delivered to their homes. They were from an attorney representing Medina County Auditor Anthony Capretta, threatening legal action over statements commissioners had made about Capretta. It was the day before commissioners asked the state to investigate the auditor for allegedly misusing taxpayer funds.
So it was very clear that we were going to take some kind of action.
Ring camera footage shows the letters were delivered by a man wearing a uniform, bulletproof vest, and armed with a pistol. Last month, when 19 Investigates first showed you the video, nobody knew who he was. Multiple law enforcement agencies confirmed he wasn't with them. Then a viewer tipped us off to his identity. His name is Brian Bunch. State records show he's an employee of a private security company called Precision Security Agency in Lakewood, and he has a license to carry a gun. The company's president told us the actions in question were performed while Mr. Bunch was off duty and were not connected to his employment responsibilities with Precision Security. 19 Investigates also found Bunch was previously accused of impersonating a police officer. In 2002, while working as a security guard for Cleveland Public Power, police say he pulled two women over. One was the 18-year-old daughter of a Cleveland police sergeant.
He activated his overhead lights and he pulled her over. When he pulled her over, she asked him, "What are you stopping me for?" And he said, "You're so cute and pretty, I have to make up my mind what I'm stopping you for."
Court records show Bunch was charged with felony abduction. The charge was later dropped. Commissioners Stephen Hambley and Aaron Harrison say they thought it was a police officer who delivered the attorney's letters in April. They feel the delivery by an armed man was an effort to stop them from filing their complaint against Capretta.
You can interpret that as intimidation. I did.
To be clear, Brian Bunch isn't currently charged with or accused of committing a crime. The attorney who wrote the letters says he didn't hire the security guard to make the deliveries, so we don't know who had him do it. We reached out to Bunch multiple times for comment, but we haven't heard back.
We also asked Capretta about Bunch, but we haven't heard back. The state auditor's office has begun investigating whether he used taxpayer money to fund his campaign. Capretta previously denied these allegations. He also recently lost his bid for re-election. We'll, of course, keep you posted. Mike Mason, 19 News.